I think what separates theater and theater actors from the boys is that it's a live experience. You can't stop and say, "Oh, can I do another take?" You are on and you're on and you're on till the show closes, till the curtain comes down or the lights fade out or the audience leaves. Um, and being part of the live experience means you have to be um, in contact. You have to really feel the audience presence. You can't not feel them. They are there, and they change the performance. In a movie, I can get up and go to the bathroom 3 times during a movie, and the movie doesn't care. Al Pacino up there doesn't care. He doesn't know. The theater could be empty, and the performance never changes. It's the same if it's one person or 1,000 people in that room watching that movie. In the theater, it changes. If someone gets up in the middle of the show to go to the bathroom, boy, those actors sense it. They sense it, they feel it, and it changes the performance. The audience has a direct effect on every performance, and that means that every performance, even if they never get a line wrong and every word and every gesture is directed exactly the same, doesn't matter. Every performance is different in a live experience because it's the art of accidents, and there are accidents that happen all the time. Somebody slightly goes up on one line and it just changes how that other person reacts, and automatically that changes it. Actors can show up tired, they can show up sick, perform ill. Audiences can show up drunk, or just really tired. It's often the performance after opening night is often the one that is considered the slow one, really slow, because everyone works up to this high. But I like to go to the performance after opening because that's when I hear the language purely. That's when I hear the actors with their guard lowered, and they're not pumped up and performing for the audience. They're just being there for themselves and getting through it. So their guard is all lowered, and it's a different kind of performance. And I actually love it more. I'd rather go to that than to openings. But that's the chief difference, is that you can stop and get the performance perfect every time. When you're working on a film or TV thing, you have multiple takes to take it from. You can even improve an actor's performance depending on the point of view. If he's got like a really strange look on his face, just cut to the other guy. And you can still have the line there, but you're looking at the other person. I've been in an editing room where they've actually improved an actor's performance. In the theater, you're out there, you're exposed, you have nothing. You can't hide behind furniture. You can't say stop and let me try that line again. You do that in rehearsal. That's what rehearsal's for. But once it's live, it's live. That's why I think theater. That's why I've stayed with theater. I've never gone to film or TV. I have no interest in doing that. I love film and TV. I'm a student of film, and it's an influence on me in theater. But I love it in the same way that I love literature, and I love poetry, and I love art. It's just another thing. But I am a creature of the theater. And that's what I do. I think playwriting for me became an obsession when I finally found a theater company in Dallas that asked me to write about my culture. I hadn't been steered in that direction. I didn't know there were plays about my culture. I thought it was all Arthur Miller, Sam Shepard, David Mamet, Beth Henley. I thought it was the Brits and the Germans, Brecht and Pinter and Edward Bond, who, I love all those guys, but I never thought that there was anything that I could say or that anyone could say about people of my culture, of my background. And so when a theater company asked me to write a play for them, it was called Teatro Dallas. They commissioned me to write a play about a Chicano family or a Chicano character, a kind of Chicano version of Don Juan. They wanted me to tell a Don Juan story in Dallas, set in Dallas, and set it during Day of the Dead, which is, a Mexican holiday. And they had a Mexican director, and they had Mexican actors, Latino actors that I could use, that I could have use of. And I didn't even know there was anyone else that looked like me in theater. I didn't know there were other writers. And the whole idea of Luis Valdez wasn't ever brought up in my education. All 7 years, none of it never came up. There was never any emphasis on that, or even just a passing interest or a semester's course in any of that at all. So I was flabbergasted and very delighted. And the show went very well. I wrote him a play called Man of the Flesh. They had the original world premiere of that. It was the first time I'd ever been commissioned to write a play. I was paid $1,000 for that. It went very well. And then I sent it to SER, or someone did, actually. I didn't do it, but somebody using my name and filling out a form sent it to South Coast Rep, and it was accepted. And so I came out of the blue. I had to go out there and work on this play. And eventually South Coast Rep also produced it. And because I did so much revision on the work, I really felt like I had to call it another world premiere. So we called it a world premiere for them too. And that launched my my relationship with South Coast Rep and my career as a playwright with a background and an emphasis on Latino work. And so I felt like I knew I had to do that. That became my obsession. But also, I'd still tried to be an actor all during that whole time, and when I was in Dallas. And when I was working on Man of the Flesh, I was so into it. I started getting really into it that I started resenting in the afternoons when my agent would call and say, "You have an audition. You got to go right now." Da da da. And I'd have to go to these auditions, and it felt like I was being interrupted. And one time I was really annoyed when they sent me on one, and I went over there and I looked at the side, and it was for a Coors commercial, 2 or 3 sentences or maybe even words. I don't remember. And I said, I'll nail this. This will be easy. I'll get this Spanish language Coors commercial. But then I turned around and saw 30 other people, 30 other guys that looked like me, except they were handsomer and buffer. And they were looking at that text like it was fucking Shakespeare. They were just so wrapped up in it. And here I was treating it like it was like an annoyance, a gnat, and that I thought, glibly, I'll get this, but my heart wasn't in it. And at that point, I said, I can't be an actor anymore. They can have it. They clearly want it more than I do. They deserve it more than I do. But I will write plays for these guys from now on. For people that look like me, I'll write plays for them from now on. And because they deserve that too. Because I wasn't seeing plays for me, and I wasn't getting cast in those parts because I looked Mexican. I wasn't getting cast in Chekhov plays. I wasn't getting cast in Shakespeare. We just weren't. And that was in the 80s. So I said, things have to change. And I've been part of that change. I'm very proud to have been part of it over the last 30, 40 years, to be part of that. And that SCR has been very much a part of that as well. This is the 5th play I will have done at South Coast Rep. Well, South Coast Repertory has a reputation for developing new work and being a home to writers who are still learning their craft, who are still figuring it out, or even established writers who have new work they want to share. And that's been the hallmark of South Coast Repertory. They're both engaged in doing classics, and doing works that are important, that have been off Broadway or on Broadway, and to develop their own writers. They like their farm teams, and I've been part of their farm team for a long time. And so I owe a lot of my career to them. Much of my career I owe to the people at South Coast Repertory. In the 90s, I don't know where I'd be without SER. And so I I do believe that's what makes SER great, is that it has a real strong a real strong program for developing writers and giving them a voice, giving them a platform on which to develop their work their way with guidance. You know, that's a thing. They have a strong dramaturgy department, and a real strong literary department, and they're there to help find the work. And they'll be upfront when you submit a work finally, and they go, it's not for us, but they still pay you. They still give you the money after they commission you, and they'll help you shop it around at the next theater that gets to do it. So I think it's a win-win for writers to get involved. Theater is very expensive, and even I learned this when we were working on Cloudlands. I was writing what I thought was a small musical with just a cast of 5, and I learned that there is no such thing as a small musical. It's big, and we even had something like 5 or 6 musicians. So it wasn't a full orchestra or anything like that, but it was time consuming. It required a lot of work on everyone's part. So many collaborators, so many different actors who came in at different workshops. They gave me so much time to work on this musical and develop it our way, and I was very gratified with that. And I thought at the end we ended up with something quite beautiful, very, very, very special. That said, I think that I think that's what makes SER really an outstanding organization, is they have a stable of writers and artists who are there to work and fight for this theater. And yes, I think that's why it's important for individuals and organizations, foundations, to support the theater, because to do them on the scale that artists really would love, in order to give the artist time and resources to develop the work over the long haul, and it could take years. It took me 2.5 years to get La Posada Mágica ready for the stage when they produced my Christmas play, and it took 2 years to get Cloudlands ready. These works do not come up overnight. They require a lot of attention, a lot of care, serious care, and it can't be a cookie cutter because every artist is very different. That requires time and resources and ultimately money. And so it's very important that people come and support the theater, and also donate on top of that, because if you filled every seat on every performance, it still would not allow the theater to break even. The only thing, especially when a lot of those tickets are provided to student discounts, and they bus in students to see the shows and they take the seats. I mean, it's just there's just no way that a single performance that is completely full will fully pay for that production. It requires additional funding. And yeah, it's a lot, but it's really, really worth it. It's really worth it. And you walk out of there with an experience that is incomparable to anything you may see on TV or film, because you, as a viewer, are engaged in creating the picture. You're engaged in completing the experience with your imagination. There's nothing left to the imagination in film and TV. You don't have to imagine it. You don't have to move your head around for this way or that way as you watch characters talk. You don't have to imagine anything at all, because it's all fed to you. And with CGI, it's even richer than you could possibly imagine. But in the theater, there's nothing like your own imagination to help finish the picture. So anyway, those are my final words, and I'm sticking to them. My name is Octavio Solis, and I'm the playwright of Quixote Nuevo that is opening at SCR, South Coast Repertory. Please, I urge you all to come and support our company, our theater, and this story, and as it provides this wonderful, rich Latino view of Quixote Nuevo to the Orange County, Santa Ana area, and all of SoCal. Please come and support it.